In campaign 2013, the race is set in the special election for Massachusetts Senate seat, once held by now Secretary of State John Kerry. Joe Fleming joining us now with more in-depth coverage. Got to get our political fix here. It's been a while.
Yes.
Let's talk about what happened last night. Ed Markey will take on businessman Gabriel Gomez, a virtual unknown in politics in Massachusetts.
Correct. But so was Scott Brown when he was running for the U.S. Senate also. Keep that in mind. Gomez is probably the one Republican the Democrats did not want to run against because he is now representing the future. He'll portray Ed Markey as the past. Obviously, Congressman Markey still has a big advantage in this race. However, there is a potential that this race could close and become a very competitive race. It's still really early to do that. There's still 2 months before the election, but there is possibilities there, especially how they present this race.
Yeah, Markey's been in there since the mid-'70s and definitely represents the old school way of doing things, I guess. But in Washington, they really want this guy to be there, right?
Yes, I would think the Democrats are going to do everything. They're not going to let what happened with Scott Brown. They're going to make sure Markey gets out there in campaigns and does what he's supposed to do to win the election. Remember, only 11% of the voters in Massachusetts are registered Republicans, so the Democrats have a big advantage. However, in a special election, if the Democrats don't come out, the Republicans could do it better. We've seen that with Scott Brown.
Right, all right, and that's John Kerry's guy as well. Let's get to Rhode Island politics.
Yep.
Even though it's the off season, there's never really an off season.
No.
Let's talk about the governor's race. There's a lot going on right now already.
Yes, the governor's race in 2014 in Rhode Island looks to be a really interesting race. First, you have a potential Democratic primary between General Treasurer Gina Raimondo and Mayor Angel Tavares. That could be a very expensive, very hard-fought Democratic primary. The winner from that race would probably go into a general election against the governor who's running as independent, Ken Block if he decides to run as the moderate. And at this point, it looks like the Republican may be Alan Fung, the mayor of Cranston. And, you know, Alan Fung has done some things at Cranston to really put himself in a strong light. So you have to really look at Alan Fung as a possible person who could win that race. And Rhode Island has a history of electing Republican governors. So that's going to be a very interesting race in 2014.
Now, if there are more candidates in the mix, didn't we see last election cycle that actually helped out Lincoln Chafee? That
helped Lincoln Chafee last time, no question about that. The thing to keep in mind is Lincoln Chafee draws Democratic votes. He doesn't draw Republican votes. So if he keeps drawing the Democratic votes, that's going to hurt the Democratic candidate who is running. The other factor to keep in mind, Lincoln Chafee last time had great support from the unions. That support is questionable this time, whether it will be there, due to the fact that he supported pension reform. So there's a chance the unions could go away from him. It depends who the Democratic candidate is. If they would support, if it's Gina Raimondo, they may not support her because she really was the leader of pension reform. Alan Fung could get some benefit for this, or they could possibly go back to Lincoln Chafee. There's a lot of scenarios that are going to play out between now and November 2014.
All right, even in the off-season, Joe Fleming has his A-game. Thanks so much for
My
coming
pleasure.
in this morning. All right, looking forward to many more chats over the next year or so. For more on campaign 2013, you can, of course, log on to our website, foxprovidence.com.